Mrs. Mock?
Here.
Mr. Porter?
Here.
Mr. Sherwood? Here. Mrs. Smrek?
Here. Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Harold, will you please read the mission statement?
The mission statement and the vision and mission statement of the Austintown Schools. The Austintown Local School District is a united community with a proud legacy and a progressive approach to education. We provide an inspiring education that strengthens and prepares our students for unlimited future opportunities.
Thank you. Number 5, agenda approval. Upon the recommendation of the treasurer, approve the agenda for the July 18th, 2022 Board of Education regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes.
Mr. Markham?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
Motion carried. There are no public comments today. Number 7, the treasurer's consent items. Upon the recommendation of the treasurer, approve the following items A through C by consent action.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
Mr. Markham?
Yes.
Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes. Motion carried. I'd like to acknowledge the donations. We received $700 from the auto spa to the athletic department, $100 from the American Legion Post 318 to the Fitch Concert Choir, and $1,137.18 from Austintown Generational Enrichment Corporation on behalf of the Austintown 4th of July Committee for the Austintown Fitch football team. Thank you. Memorandums of Understanding. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approve the following memorandum of understanding by and between the Austintown Local School District and the Austintown Education Association. Whereas the other duties of the Austintown Fitch High School band director position of 21% will be split evenly into the following 2 positions for the 2022-2023 school year as follows. Co-band director, 10.5% each.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes.
Mr. Markham?
Yes.
Mr. Porter? Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
Motion carried. Superintendent's consent items. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approve the following items A through D by consent action. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes.
Mr. Markham?
Yes.
Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mr. Porter? Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
At this time, I'd like to acknowledge a few new teachers that are here. Katie Corbett, could you please stand? She'll be our new Title I teacher at AIS. We also have Mark DeRamo. He will be at Fitch High School, grade 9 through 12 science teacher. And John Anthony is in the back. He'll be K through 12 music. Thank you guys and welcome. Pardon me? No, that's not. That's fine. Welcome, guys. Resolution, the architectural agreement. Approve the resolution authorizing the execution of an architectural agreement with Strollo Architects Incorporated in connection with the construction of a recreation wellness facility.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes.
Mr. Markham?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
No.
Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
Resolution impractical to transport. Approve the resolution declaring transportation impractical for the following identified student for the 21-22 school year. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes.
Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
Mr. Markham?
Yes.
Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approve a stipend for our 2 district nurses Bethany Martinez and Sue Tamalonis to be compensated at $3,500 each due to the extra hours worked beyond their regular scheduled workday due to the COVID-19 pandemic during the 21-22 school year. So moved.
Second?
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes.
Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mr. Markham? Mr. Porter? Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
Public meeting for August will be August 17th, 2022, which is a Wednesday. The work session will be at 4 o'clock in the Board of Education office. Regular session will be at 5 o'clock here at the AMS. So moved.
Second?
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes.
Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
Mr. Markham? Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Treasurer comments?
No comments.
Superintendent, Dave?
Just welcome aboard. Thanks for showing up. Mark, Katie.
Thank you. Have a great year. Thank you, Kim.
Board comments? Anybody? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Mr. Markham? Yes. Mrs. Mock?
Yes.
Mr. Porter? Mr. Sherwood?
Yes.
Mrs. Smrek?
Yes.
in association with Austintown Local Schools and Austintown Township.